These youngins in Hollywood are putting a ring on it. Are they mature enough to handle the forever step? Hey, that's my boy Jay there. I'm Mr. Mafuchi. We're gonna let you know. Are they ready? Because we're not sure if they are. But before we do, if you make it to the end of the show, please consider clicking a like, clicking a subscribe. We always love it. We're here for you. We just want to make sure you guys stay married. And also, with this episode, if you're ready to get married. So, now let's get into the hot goss and possibly crush some dreams. Let's go. Now, the first couple, the popular one, they apparently you just can't get away from nowadays, is Zendaya and Tom Holland. They both met on the Spider-Man set on 2016. At the time, Zendaya was 20 years old and Tom Holland was 21. So there's only 1 year age gap. Not too bad. Jay doesn't have to roll his eyes on this one. The age gap is not that big. And in 2017, that's when apparently they were reportedly dating. On September 2021, on Zendaya's 25th birthday, she put a post on her social media that confirmed that they were both in a relationship. That way people wouldn't just keep talking behind their backs. Hey, it's confirmed they are a couple. In Christmas of 2024, they took that big step, at least the first step towards it. They got engaged. Now, we've talked about this before. If you get engaged in a holiday, there could be some legal drama attached to that because if it doesn't work, someone may not have to return the ring. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how it goes. Engaged in 2024, that's where it stands right now. So for this whole time, they've known each other 9 years. So it's not like they just jumped into it, Jay. They got to know each other. They've been on set. I haven't watched those Spider-Man movies. I don't know how many there are, if it's 2 or 3, whatever the case. But they do know one another, and I think Zendaya is taller. That's what I've seen in all the photos. Doesn't matter, okay? It's okay for a man to get lifts, not a problem. But nonetheless, I see it's kind of okay because now they are older. They're in their late 20s, which is fine. Again, known each other for 9 years. It may work, but as always, everything's an anomaly when it comes to marriage. Hopefully it works. Because if they make another Spider-Man movie and they get divorced, it may get a little weird. Jay, let us know what's going on with this couple. What do you think?
What I do like about this couple is that they're close in age. 2 and 1, there's been 3 Spider-Man movies. Let's just get that clear. 3 Spider-Man movies they're supposed to be filming 4. But I don't know if she's in it or not. So, but only thing I would say is, as far as being a Hollywood couple, in some scenes she did about a tennis movie where she was between 2 guys going back and forth kissing. Now, if I'm Tom Holland, I got a problem with that. I don't want to see my woman doing that. I don't care if that's her job for that particular film. I don't want to see that, right? When I first saw that initially, I didn't know if it was a meme or fake or AI or whatever the case may be, right? But when I saw it, I was like, oh, I wonder how Tom Holland felt about that, or if he even saw it, or she said, hey, don't watch this movie or don't watch this part of this movie, right? But one thing about them, I don't hear a lot of stuff about them in the media outside of that they're together. I don't see a lot of pictures of them together either as well, so that's a good sign as well. Because if you're always putting yourself out there in front of the cameras, eventually your relationship's going to end. If you're in Hollywood, that's just the way it goes. The less people I see in front of the camera, their relationships tend to last a lot longer in that industry. But overall, I don't know much about the couple as far as what they're doing outside of the films. So I take that as a good sign just because I don't know anything. The less I know, the stronger your relationship most likely will be. So age, good. Not love in business, good. Not love in your face, good. So they have a chance and they know each other for a while as well. And they're getting married after 25, so that's also a plus.
So hey, for all you Cobra Kai fans, here's a couple that both of you know. Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mauser. They were both on the show because both of them know the best way to meet a person and take them into marriage is you strike first, you strike hard, and you show no mercy. Both of them, when Cobra Kai started in 2017, here's something here, Jay. Tanner is younger. He was 19. Mary was 22. So it's not a 3-year age gap, it's 2.5. But nonetheless, there's an age gap. We'll see what Jay has to say about that. And they quickly became besties. In 2022, there was rumors going around after they were seen vacationing together in Paris Disneyland, wearing matching holiday attire. Oh, how cute. Probably 2 karate gis, hopefully. But on February 12th of this year, 2025, when the Cobra Kai series finale ended, they revealed matching engagement rings. So, for this entire time, they've known each other for 8 years. Now, we are adding 8 years to it, so Mary is 30 and Tanner's 27. So, again, 2.5-year age gap. They do know each other. They are towards the second half of their 20s. And later on, we will have a pie chart to reflect what's going on with that and if they will make it or not. I like the fact that they've known each other for this whole time, especially on the show, on the set. And I know for sure Tanner has been in another movie. I think it's He's All That, or remake of She's All That. They're both about the same quality, by the way, so you don't have to watch it. But if you do, go into it for how you want. But again, I think we've always talked about here in Marriage Pros, the longer you know each other, the better odds you have of staying together. And if you get married, hey, being together forever. But that's just my opinion. Let's get to Jay to see what he says.
Based on looking at Google, right, it says Mary's 29 and Tanner's 26. So already, I don't like that, right? I don't like how the man is always younger, even though the gap is not that big, right? So someone I know hates when the man is younger, even a day younger, okay? Doesn't matter. But I do like the fact that they've known each other for a long time. I do like that they're over to 25. It's just that I don't like that she's older. Just because typically it's always better in reverse. I know absolutely nothing about this couple. Honestly, I didn't watch Cobra Kai. I can care less, right? But the one thing I will say, unlike Tom Holland and Zendaya, they've done different projects and stayed together. Usually when you do a project for such a long time and then you're no longer doing that project together, you tend to split. So since Cobra Kai just finished, we'll see how long they last. I probably won't be paying attention if they break up or not. I'll have to hear from Mafuchi. When the show that 2 celebrities are doing no longer is in production, we'll see how long it lasts. If it lasts, cool. A lot of times it does not work that way. And that's all I can see because I don't know nothing about them. I don't know nothing about the personalities, anything like that. So if it works, good for them. If it doesn't, I can care less because it wasn't going to go nowhere, no way, just based on how they got together.
Hey, somebodies, let us know in the comments section. If you're with Jay, do you have a problem with the age gap in reverse where the woman is older? Let us know in the comments. That way Jay knows that he's not alone. Now, somebodies, for those of you that think that we don't know what we're talking about, here we go. I'm going to go back to one of the episodes that Jay and I spoke about, which is Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez. We'll leave a link in the comment section so you can watch that and understand that we're just not talking out of our patootie for no reason. This couple right here, they met in early 2020. They both started dating. Now, later that year in 2020, they got engaged. They got engaged when Ariana was 27. Again, she's older. You know how Jay loves that. And Dalton was 25. So a 2-year age gap. They went together. I think they were together for 2 years, maybe 3. But in July 2023, they announced their separation. And coincidentally, this is when Ariana was filming Wicked, and there was reports that surfaced that she was dating her co-star. So Jay and I also referenced that in that episode. There was a reason for this to end. So this may be the exception, but nonetheless, they only knew each other for a year. Knew each other early 2020. Engaged later that same year. You didn't get to know one another. Yes, they made it past the mid-20s, but they didn't know who they were. You have to know who you are. You were still in the honeymoon stage with this person when everything is just flowers and candies and all the lovemaking you want. That's not how a relationship goes on, or a marriage. It just doesn't. It changes. And you have to know that your partner that you've chosen, you two are going to be able to change along with everything that comes about the marriage. They didn't do it the right way. Plus, there's an age gap. I mean, Jay, tell them what's going on.
As far as Ariana goes, she's going through a lot, right? You can tell based on when I first know who she was off Sam and Cat, how she's drastically changed her features from then to now. I don't like that, right? Just because I don't know what's going on with her, why she thinks she needs to make these changes, or it's Illuminati thing. I don't know, right? I don't like when people, they're dating and then they get engaged really quickly because you haven't seen each other through all your seasons yet. So you haven't seen them when they're upset, when they get extremely upset and how they deal with that. Have you guys traveled together? So because people are different when they travel and they vacation. So it's a lot that you need to do within a dating period. So when you're courting, I would say 2 years, maybe 3. That's a good time frame to get a pretty good feel of someone. Yes, people can hide and put out the representatives. We can only do that for so long before you can finally let your hair down and like, okay, I can't be fake too much longer. So this couple, I didn't know anything about them until Mafuchi brought it up to me. I didn't know who Ariana Grande is, but that's about it. So it's like when you meet, like I said, when you guys meet on the set or something like that, that's one thing because you're spending all this time together. But the moment that project ends, you guys are going to different things. How strong is that bond? Like, have you guys talked about that sort of thing? Have you guys said, okay, I'm on to this project. When can we see each other during the project? Because if you're filming a TV show or a movie or whatever case like that, that can be months. For a movie, I think it can be 3 to 6 months, depending on what type of film it is. If it's TV, it can be 6 to 8 months, whatever kind of show you're filming. So it's a lot different. So I just look at Ariana and I'm like, I feel bad for her because I don't know what she's going through, but it's based on how she physically changed herself. So yes, outside of that, I don't have any other pros. There's nothing but cons after that.
Now, I'm going to throw in there an honorable mention, which is Dua Lipa and Callum Turner. I know the majority of you know who Dua Lipa is. I know who Dua Lipa is. So, with this couple, they met in January 2024 at an after party. They do have an age gap, so this is going to be great because Dua Lipa is 28 and Callum is 34, so 6-year age gap. They announced their relationship publicly in that summer of 2024, and then on Christmas, yes, another holiday, engagement in 2024. So within a year, they met, they fell in love, still honeymoon stage, and now they are engaged to be married for that forever step. We just talked about this with Ariana Grande, that's why we brought it up, okay? They knew each other for a year, and look what happened, and then divorce. This is another one right here. It doesn't bode well, and plus, the guy is 6 years older, so, but they do say that men tend to mature slower than women, so maybe with that age gap, they're both in the same maturity level? Who's to say? Hey, let us know in the comments section what you think about the age gap, men maybe being a little more immature than women, so on and so forth. But now, let's find out from Jay what he thinks about all this.
All right. Pros. Old enough to get married, right? You're in a proper mindset as far as your prefrontal cortex, right? So I do like that aspect. I don't like the length of time they've known each other because I just don't feel you should be married to someone when you haven't known them that long. You may know, but like I said, have you been through all the seasons? I couldn't be with someone if I haven't seen them in all seasons in different phases. It just wouldn't sit right with me. But age gap, it's pushing it for me. I don't like anything really over 5, but 3 is more my sweet spot, right? Just because a lot of people, they go through different things, and if you're too far apart and gap is like your life experience is not too similar. So that's why I like to say between 3 and 5 and closer to 3. Now, we'll see with if or when they get married, because a lot of celebrities, they'll do get engaged that quickly, and then something will happen, and then they'll break up. Now, you really just gotta know who you're marrying, and like I say, and I said this in the last video we did, are you picking the right person? Because you can be in all this little rose-colored sunglasses right now with how you feel about someone, but eventually that's going to fade. So you really got to know you're picking the right person, not for lust, not what they can do for you, but will you love them through X, Y, and Z.
So somebodies, let's get into a couple that is already married. And everybody knows Millie Bobby Brown, and some of you know Jake Bonjovi. Yes, that Bonjovi. This is his son. They both met on Instagram in between 2020 and 2021. At the time, Millie Bobby Brown was 17 and Jake Bonjovi was 19. They began dating in June of 2021. They went public with their relationship later that year, so they weren't hiding anything. Now, there has been 2 years of dating, and in 2023, they got engaged. So, again, 2 years, is that enough? And plus, they're really young. I think she was not even 20 yet when they got engaged. And in 2024 of May, they did marry in a private session. But they did allow photos on there, as you see right there on our side. And throughout all this, they only knew each other for 4 years. And as of right now, they're not even mid-20s. Jake is 23, she's 21. This is not boding too well, okay? Because anybody that knows when you're a teenager, the law says 18, you're an adult. We know better, okay? You are not an adult. You are still not ready for the world. I don't care what the law says. You don't know much. And falling in love at that time, that kind of falls into puppy love. You probably don't know if this is your one and only. Why? Maybe you haven't experienced other people. That tends to be the issue. That's why when you marry young, and then later on, maybe a few years, maybe just 1 year or so, you meet somebody else and you vibe with them, you think to yourself, wow, I feel good with this person too. Why is that when I have this person and I'm married to this person? It's because you didn't give yourself an opportunity to meet more people. That tends to work in people's favor. That you get to experience a lot more people in the world, and you get to hone and find out what your tastes and likes are and your interests. That does matter. So that's why most of the time, people that marry young, before 25, it doesn't work out. So we will keep an eye on this marriage, because we're very curious to see if it does work or not. Of course, there is an exception to every rule. Is this marriage the exception? We'll soon find out. And if it's not, you better believe the Marriage Pros will have a video ready about Millie Bobby Brown's divorce. Not wishing her ill will, but if it happens, we're going to report on it.
Now, as soon as you told me she was 17 when they started to date, the first thing that came to my mind was Kendrick Lamar talking about Drake. And I'm like, yeah, she is a minor, right? It's like, why are you dating a minor? You couldn't wait until she was 18 to be legal. So that bothered me right there. So yeah, and when you're in your early 20s, that's what I would say. You should try to date around and date different types of people, so you can know really like what you like and what you don't like, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with. So that's one thing I would give advice on to people who are younger. Just kind of date around. You don't have to be exclusive with anybody, so you can just get a feel of what you want, what you don't want, and stuff like that, because you're still finding out who you are as a person. So there's people in their 30s and 40s who haven't gotten it figured out yet, so FYI. But yeah, I'm curious to see if they will stay together or not. Usually people who get married that young, they don't stay married because they don't know what life is yet. And plus, if they got money, their lives are completely different from the normal folks out here. So We'll see. Am I optimistic? Not really. But that's just based on statistics. So if they stay together, great. If they don't, well, they're just part of the club. So yeah, I won't be surprised if they get divorced. I just hoped that they both sign a prenup.
Now, somebody's. Most of the time, I don't have facts about what's going on with marriages and what our episode is about. Today, I made a chart. It's a pie chart. And here is what it explains. Now, before that, I understand the percentages are not going to add up to exactly 100, okay? I get that. Don't worry about it. This is just the percentages for each section. When couples, celebrities, regular people, whatever you want to be called, if you marry before the age of 25, your divorce rate is 60 to 65%. Why? Like we talk about here, you are not experiencing other people. You may just be set on one person, or you may have had maybe less than a handful of people that you've dated, and you just feel, okay, I feel love. I'm in love. But if you don't give yourself that opportunity to date around, feel yourself out, and what you like, this could end up happening. Don't think that just because you met this person and you feel these things, that you may not be able to feel it for somebody else. And we have it right here on the pie chart, right there. Divorce, 60 to 65%. Now, for couples that marry between 25 and 29, they have a 35 to 45% chance of divorce. It's people that have taken the time to get to know one another, like Zendaya, Tom Holland, and Tanner and Mary. They've known each other for 8 and 9 years respectively. So that has a good chance because they're already in their late 20s and they've been together for so long. Hopefully, they've gotten to know the nooks and crannies of one another. That's why they want to take this forever step. That is okay. But again, nothing is perfect. Nothing is set in stone. But your chances are lower when you're in between the 25 and 29, right there on the chart. The last one, if you marry after 30, your chances of divorce are between 25 and 30. I married for the second time when I was 30. The first time was when I was in my early 20s. And that didn't last. It ended in divorce. So I know what I'm talking about with divorce, okay? Nonetheless, the second time I was married, it was at 30. And I'm still in that marriage. Why? Because I was able to experience things. I was able to meet new people, meet different people, know what I like and don't like. And especially the don't like. You want to stay away from that. That's what you want to build up. You want to get to know yourself. You want to get to know your needs. So when you meet someone, you kind of, at that moment, once you meet them, you're already breaking down the things that you like and don't like. And are there more likes than dislikes? And if there's dislikes, can you live with it? That's what it is. So at age 30, you also hopefully worked on yourself and worked on a career. Let's say you have a job and you just made it into your own, and now this is your power career because you made it happen. You are right there where you want to be, and now you can take that next step into looking for your partner. That's why the older you are, the less of a chance of divorce. Nothing is perfect or set in stone, and there's always exceptions to every rule. And by the way, that's a great pie chart, right?
All right, so I concur with the pie chart. So as like Mafuchi said, people getting married before 25, usually because you don't know who you are yet. You're in that, okay, lovey-dovey stage, but are you looking past what that's going to look like? Because I remember when I was around that age, I knew I wasn't ready before 25, just because, one, the state I live in, and then two, you're going to go through so much between your early 20s and by the time you get to 30. And also, before 25, your prefrontal cortex has not been developed, fully formed yet. So you're not thinking properly the way you will be after 25. Between 25 and 29, because I got married, I believe it was either 26 or 27. So I felt I was really responsible and ready to take that step, and I knew I'll be fine. Because a lot of people, they'll get married and then they're like, oh, if it don't work, I'll just get divorced. Like they're returning a package back to Amazon or Walmart or something, which is stupid. But after the age of 30, you pretty much know who you are. You're set in your ways. You're going to have to accept someone for who they are. Someone has to accept you for who you are. So there's not a lot of wiggle room of how much you're going to change at that point. You still change as you get older, but at that age, you really know what you want and what you don't want, or at least you should, as far as when you're wanting to marry someone. So I think the pie chart is pretty accurate. I just say the younger you are, it's just really no point because you don't know who you are yet. And then once life throws you some curveballs, how are you going to handle it? When you're older, it's like you've been through enough stuff where it's like, okay, God threw this at me. Okay, I'm eventually going to get through it. If you're younger, you might not be thinking in that way. So that's like just my point of view. That's how I thought about it as a young person and as I got older. The younger you are, just wait until at least after 25. You know, especially if you don't have your career where you want it to be yet. And then a lot of people, they want to have kids later on in life now just because of everything as far as career statuses go, how much inflation is and all that type of stuff. So I would say the later, the better, just because you know who you are.
Somebodies, you made it all the way through. Thank you so much for liking the show. And of course, the only thing that we ask is click the like, click the subscribe. So that way we can give you more of these shows and the YouTube algorithm will let them know that you like us. You really do. And also, we have a comment section. Please let us know what you think about all this. Does age gap matter to you? Knowing each other, is there true love within a year? Do you really believe that? Let us know in the comment section when you think about all this. And is there a celebrity couple that we missed? And let us know about that too. We always reply, trust us, because we love to hear from you. So, that's my boy Jay. I'm Mr. Mafuchi. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Hey somebodies, come check out my channel where I give you my candid thoughts and opinions on various topics and weird news reports. So stop by for some tomfoolery and ballyhoo. Cute little guy, eh?